Hello, this is Dr. K. Welcome to this week's module on software and software engineering. The material we cover in this module is based on chapters 1 and 2 of the book Software Engineering: A Practitioner's Approach by Roger Pressman and Bruce Maxim. In this video, I'll talk a little bit about the textbook and what I consider to be some of its strengths and some of its weaknesses. In addition, I'll let you know some things you should keep in mind while you're reading the text. The text we're using for this class is the 8th version of the book Software Engineering: A Practitioner's Approach by Roger Pressman. This is the first edition in which Pressman has a co-author whose name is Bruce Maxim. Along with Ian Somerville's book Software Engineering, which is on its 9th edition, Pressman is one of the most widely used software engineering textbooks around. But if you go to Amazon.com and look at the reviews of this book over the years, they don't always seem very positive. In fact, many of them are downright negative. And if you dig into the negative reviews, one recurring theme that you find is that this book covers everything so broadly that it does not have time to get into anything in detail. And as a result, you end up with a poor understanding of a lot of different things. Well, in my opinion, this is an absolutely fair criticism. I mean, Pressman is focused on breadth of information rather than depth of information. But, you know, Pressman is a software engineering textbook. It's not a requirements engineering textbook, it's not an agile development book, and it's not a quality assurance book. It's a software engineering book, and software engineering is an incredibly broad discipline. You're going to find the same problems in Somerville or in any book that claims to cover a field as big as software engineering. If you want to get the most out of Pressman, you have to read it with this limitation in mind. In this course, when I think that Pressman is glossing too quickly over a topic that deserves more attention, I'll give you a link to more information, or I'll provide you with extra reading material. Sometimes it seems to me that Pressman's choice for breadth over depth of information is not just due to the fact that software engineering is such a broad field. It may be due to the fact that Pressman believes there is no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to software development. And this seems to make a lot of sense. The needs of software developers are going to be different depending on what they're developing and the circumstances they're in. If you have a small team of people and you want to develop a web application, maybe you should use agile development. If you're working on mission-critical software like air traffic control, then you should probably incorporate formal methods. If you're a government contractor, then you should probably familiarize yourself with the CMMI assessment model. Right at the beginning of the first chapter, Pressman presents an interview he did with a software developer from a gaming company. At one point in the interview, the developer tells Pressman that they use some of the techniques talked about in his book, and Pressman is surprised. The developer goes on to make the point that you have to adapt software engineering techniques for your own purposes in order to produce high-quality software. And this drives home 2 points that Pressman reiterates throughout the book. The first is this notion of adapting software engineering techniques to fit your own needs. And the second is the notion that software engineering is necessary if you want to develop high-quality software. In fact, if there's one theme that runs throughout Pressman's book, It's that the desire for quality software is the foundation of software engineering. The idea is that there's nothing stopping the lone programmer or even a small team of somewhat disorganized programmers from producing a piece of software. But if you want to produce quality software with a strong design that can be maintained, then you need to engineer your product. Another theme that arises throughout the book is the notion that change is, for lack of a better word, a constant in software development. And any software process needs to have a way to respond to changing requirements, changing technologies, and changing environments. In other words, once you release a software product, your task is not finished, because you can be sure that your software is going to need to change. Now, there's one final theme that I'll mention here, and it's that of a disciplined approach to software development versus an agile approach to software development. Really, this theme is a kind of merger of the two previous themes. Software engineers want a disciplined approach to software development because they want to be able to build a quality product. But they also want an agile approach that allows them to respond effectively to change. We'll talk more about all of these themes and observations as we go through the book, but try to keep them in the back of your mind while you're reading Pressman. I think you're going to get a lot more out of the text that way. In the next video, we'll start to talk about what software is and how it might be different from other products we use and create.